I'm sitting here in the camper van editing this podcast episode, and we were thinking or talking about if we should publish this episode or if we shouldn't. And a little trigger warning, this is going to be an emotional episode. We knew already that it's going to be emotional, but after all, we also decided to basically publish the raw version. So what you're going to listen to is a conversation between Nacho and me, talking about long-distance relationships between family and friends and how we deal with it. What I'd like to ask you, or I'd like to take the chance to ask you guys, so for those of you who are in a similar situation, if you do have any advice, please share it with us. Thank you so much in advance. We appreciate you. And of course, any feedback you are sharing with us, we will share with everyone else if this is fine by you. And let's just jump directly into the conversation. Welcome to International Love Story, a podcast about multicultural and long-distance relationships. My name is Christina.
My name is Ignacio.
And normally this is the part where I say, and today I'm welcoming, but today I'm welcoming my husband, so Nacho, sitting on the other side of the table, because we're sitting in our camper van right now. As most of you guys might know, we just converted a transporter into a camper van. And yeah, this is where we're recording, because this is where we will record in future time, as we are hopefully going to start our travel soon.
Right.
Super excited for that. Today, as mentioned in the latest episode, we would like to talk about long-distance relationships to family and friends. And we are in a quite special situation here. I mean, we can be more than happy that we closed the distance a few years ago already, so 4 years ago. But giving the current circumstances and giving the current circumstances in Argentina, we do have to deal with, difficult times as well, if you could say so. And Nacho and I were living in Germany. Nacho is worrying every day about family and friends back in Argentina, because the situation there is, how would you describe the situation though?
It's a circus.
What do you mean by circus?
It's a circus. It's one day they say one thing and the other day they say another thing. And they said many months ago that by December last year, they were hoping to have everyone in the risk group vaccinated. And as of April 20th, 2021, 4 months later, they have not even vaccinated more than 2% of the population.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, every day you read the newspaper, so what's going on in Argentina right now. Most of the times, I mean, sorry for swearing here right now. Some people, you might know Spanish, but I hear him swearing quite often. And when hearing him in the morning already, while opening his phone, saying puta madre, I know something must have happened in Argentina. And here's the thing, it's just overwhelming on both ends, because Nacho is somehow trapped here in Germany right now as he's waiting for his... You are trapped. Yeah, you are trapped. You're waiting for your passport. We don't know yet when your passport will be issued because his passport expired a few days ago. And it can take up to 3 months until you will get your new passport. And here's the thing. So we don't know if something comes up because Nacho's mom is a little bit older, and there are a few situations he has to take care of on the long run, sooner than later, when he will be able to travel. And this leaves us with a lot of questions. And we found a way to deal with it. Even though if we feel like, or at least due to that we're living in Germany, which is my hometown now, I feel like leaving him alone, if you could say so. So it's just not easy on both of our parts. And what we would like to talk about today is how we deal with it. And my question to you, Nacho, is, how do you deal with the situation? Like, what do you do from Germany to basically support your family and to feel close to them, even though if distance is dividing you?
How do I feel? Well, I can say that I don't feel great. I feel like you just said, trapped. Because my mom is in it's in the risk group. My father as well, and I have my sister and my niece and nephew there. I have my friends there, and when I said before, I feel like Argentina is a circus. I mean that they don't think that the pandemic is something serious. And right now, for example, there's a politics fight, and they take the pandemic as a politic topic. So I don't feel great seeing everything that's happening on my country, on my people, from a position where I can't do anything about it. Because that's how it is. I can't do anything about it.
No. So what you just said, that that you can't do anything about it. I mean, you might feel helpless, and we've talked about it a couple of times already. While I'm trying to support you in any way that's needed by talking to you and checking on you. And we just had a conversation about it this morning that I often feel like I'm not doing enough. But then there's another thing which makes me think, because after all, there's nothing else I can do, so I feel trapped as well. It's just, how do you deal with such a special situation we are in, and so many other couples are dealing with as well right now, not being able to travel, and feeling trapped in a current situation. And it sounds just like a stereotype, but it's definitely true. The only way to deal with it is by talking.
Yes.
And what we do is, because sometimes I do need a time basically to figure out what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. So we would leave each other a little bit of space, because sometimes it just takes at least a couple of hours until you realize, okay, what's going on with me right now? How do I really feel about it? But then we will always talk about it. And this often leads into not only an open conversation, but also into tears, into a bunch of emotions, which we're totally aware of before talking, because that's just part of it. And what's important, at least to me, is that even though this whole talking it out loud process is hurtful, it's so much needed to understand what's going on right now, and if there's maybe even a way to support each other, even though if you feel trapped, that's also an emotion that's quite normal. In the end, you will figure it out together. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's anything else you can do, Shats. I've been living with you for the past 4 years now, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, you have been very supportive, as well as I was very supportive to you in Miami. And I think that some things, although, yes, they hurt me, how things are going in Argentina and how my family may be suffering, my friends may be suffering, and I'm suffering. There's just that much you can do, and I thank you for that. But as I said, unfortunately, there's nothing I can do from here, from the distance. So the only thing for me to do now is just deal with it in a way that it doesn't affect us, or it doesn't affect me and therefore affect us. I feel like I can deal with it because honestly, I don't have anything else to do rather than think about it. Like I said, it's not that I have to do paperwork or I have to send money or I have to, be on a call every day with my loved ones. I just read about it. It hurts. Maybe I should just stop reading about it altogether,
Just asking myself if there's a way to deal with it. If there's another way,
The thing is, it's a macro problem. Argentina is the problem. The governors and the politicians are the problem. And there's nothing I can do about it, except I go to Argentina and I start a civic role in the government and, I don't know, try to clean it from the inside out. Because honestly,
also, I do think there's a difference between reading the news here and living in Argentina. Of course, you like the news you read within Germany, or I mean, you do have La Nación is the newspaper, right?
Yes.
Of course, it's like if you're there, you will. What's the English word for it?
I mean, I have to say something about it. La Nación, it's a newspaper that's kind of right-wing. So then there's that. They obviously will fight for their finances and their political friends, and it's not always what the people in Argentina live or need, or like we say, the people that do La Nación, that write on La Nación, we say they live in a nube de pedos, which literally means that they live in a cloud of farts. So it's like they don't know anything. It's called La Nación, but in reality it should be called El Buenos Aires.
Mm-hmm.
Because Argentina is not Buenos Aires. And they just, I don't know, it's, I keep on reading them because I think that they are kind of objective. But then again, if you read the leftists' newspaper, they also suck.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, in between both of them, I think I just prefer to go with the right-wing one because it aligns more with my views. But then again, I do know that they are kind of shitty. Journalistic.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, no matter which newspaper you're opening, also here in Germany, the same. It will all be about COVID, and obviously, it's also, after all, it's also about money.
Yeah,
because the newspaper with the
power.
biggest, with the biggest news. So, what I wanted to say with that is just like being here or being there. Of course, two different things, but I do think that the people who are living in Argentina right now, of course, they're all having a hard time, but it's not always exactly like you would read it in a newspaper.
That is true.
So you are calling your family every day, checking up on them.
Well, yeah,
they're
but
doing
you know
fine.
why? I told you earlier, I'm afraid that my mom... I'm afraid that one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to call my mom or my father and they will not pick up the phone.
Yeah.
That's the anxiety I'm dealing with every day now here.
And that's the anxiety I can't take away from you.
What can I do? Stop calling them?
No, no, of course not. I do think, I mean, right now, so it's difficult because you don't have your passport. But as soon as you get your passport back, it's just, after all, like, bad things will happen. And it sounds hard to say, but they will happen whether you are here or if you are there. Same as you know, when I moved to him, I mean, there wasn't a pandemic when I used to live in Miami, but there were also bad things happening here. You know, when my, there was other circumstances, but when my grandma died, I couldn't be there either. And, but this is something, it would have happened no matter where I would have been. It's just like, in your case, it's just difficult, especially right now, because you don't have a passport, so you can't just take a plane. And I think right now it's quite difficult to get a plane, but you can't just take a plane right now and just fly over. And that's what hurts the most, I think.
I think what hurts the most is that it's been almost 1.5 years since I see my people.
Yeah.
Hug them or be with them. You know, it's hard when you call your mom and she tells you like, hey, you're calling me every day to check up on me. I know that you are worried because you fear that I may die and you will not be able to have seen me or give me a hug. And that is what I'm dealing with. My mom saying those things.
Yeah. And guys, so to whoever's listening right now, you have to know that Nacho's mom she's really saying out loud what she's thinking in that very moment. So she's like, whatever she has in mind, she would just talk it out loud. And this is why she's constantly saying it when talking to Nacho. So it's the truth. I mean, she's right. This is why you're calling her as well, obviously, because you are worried about her.
Mm-hmm.
You are checking on her. Is there an advice we can give to someone who's in a similar situation? It's what you're doing is exactly, in my opinion, the way to go for it, to talk about it and to be honest about it, about what you're thinking, about what you're feeling, like we're talking about it now, and to be aware of that it hurts and that it's okay that it hurts, because it is hurtful, and not pushing away your feelings.
Yeah, just talk it out loud. Don't close yourself up. Have your partner support you, and I don't know, when you say that the way I'm dealing with it is the way to go, maybe, I don't know, I don't think so. I think I should have gone to Argentina months ago and taken the risk of not being able to come back. But that's the thing, foresight is one son of a bitch.
Mm.
If I would have known that things were going to get worse, obviously I would have gone months ago. Now I can say that after the experience I made, now in Argentina, things are going to get worse rather than better, and they're gonna keep on worsening and worsening until I don't know what's going to happen.
But what do you think will happen?
Well, I hope nothing happens with my family, and I hope that someday I will be able to see them again as soon as my passport is back. But there might be some kind of social disruption event. I mean, just look at Brazil. We are much worse.
Yeah.
Already. So that's what bad politics do. That's what politics like North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, and now Argentina do. So I just hope that the people rebel, and I just hope that we will be able to take out this useless government that made so many people die already because of not being able to regulate a pandemic properly.
Yeah, there are just not so many countries who are capable of doing this. But here's the thing with Argentina, because after all, you'll be on your own. There is no social net. There
is only if you agree to the politics that are running at the moment.
But do you remember in the beginning of the pandemic that companies were able to get support, but just if they, I think you told me, like if they 51%, if they would turn over 51% to the states.
Yes.
And those are things that are unfortunately normal in Argentina. So corruption is still a thing. Like those are things. It somehow became part of Argentina. But the situation you are in right now as a country is something you've never experienced. You have been through so many things already, and you've always figured out a way to pull yourselves out, And when I think back, like and after also what you've told me is that Argentinians always found a way to support each other. Even like they will still, especially within families, they would do anything to keep the people surrounding themselves happy. And I'm not sure if this will be the case now. So that comes on top of all this. Because it's a whole new thing. And how are you supposed to support if you don't have anything anymore, you know? And it's normally a country of lovely people and strong people and people who always figure it out. But seeing Argentina like this right now, at least how we perceive it, is just not at all what it used to be.
Yeah.
And that comes on top. So there's so many things coming together, and we know that we're not the only one. And as Nacho just said, like talking about it, even though if we're sitting here both with tears in our eyes because it's so painful, just hurts so much to think about it, to be worried about your family, and then me as a partner not knowing how to support my significant other, because after all, as Nacho is helpless, as there's nothing he can do, there's also nothing I can do. At least this is how it feels like. Except talking it out and figuring it out together, because after all, for example, you will have your passport hopefully soon, and I feel like right now, no matter what, you will fly over, and I will support you with that 100,000%, as I supported you in the past. And even though that would mean that you might not be able to travel back for a long time, because it seems like borders might close or so whatever. Right now, it's important for you to fly to Argentina as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So guys, crossing fingers, Nacho's passport will arrive soon. Might take up to 3 months from now on. Maybe less.
Maybe more.
I don't hope. I hope you will get it within the next few weeks. And that's kind of like the straw we're holding on. And obviously that in an emergency that you will still be able to travel somehow. So, this is our little update. As mentioned a few days ago in our stories already on Instagram, we were aware of that this might not be a happy episode with a lovely love story, but this is reality right now. And we just felt the need to share it with you guys, as mentioned before, so we know that there are so many out there being in a similar situation. So guys, if you do have any tips, just feel free to share it with us. Text us on Instagram or on Facebook. It's International Love Story. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please take care and hear you soon. Bye.